Well, hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to another stream and another chapter working on that guy there. That's the M2A3 Bradley. I'm gonna run the intro. Let's get started. Okay, so we're back, and it's the same day technically. I did a stream earlier today, and I'm doing another stream again today. December 31st, you know, it's almost New Year's. And yes, so we're going to continue on. I'm going to change my glasses, we're going to change the camera, and we're going to see what's going on. Alright, let's go. Let's get her done. Alright. So, last time we were putting on some parts, and we got to the point where I needed to add the photo etch, but I had to take off, right? You guys remember that. I had to do this, put some photo etch on here, but I didn't get to do that. We did get the other parts put on, okay? Like our main thing here. Got that put on, or a couple of little guys here and here, and this panel here. Yeah, that's done, okay? Done, done, done. Time for photo etch. So I did already take the photo etch off of the little sprue, or whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it a sprue. That guy there, he's going to go in right in that spot there. I don't want to put it right in there right just yet. And then we got another guy who's going to go in right in here, right along this edge. That's the W9 right there. He's going to go in right there. I've already taken him off also, and I've already bent him in on the spot that he needs to go, because he's going to go in right in here like this, kind of like that, but he's going to go right against the edge there, so he's going to get a little bit of a bend on him. Okay, so with that being said, I need to get some CA glue, because that's how you glue photo etch on. Photo etch gets glued on with CA glue, so I need to get my CA glue out and get this ready. I might need my accelerator also, which is this stuff here. I use this stuff, this BSI, Bob Smith Industries Instaset. Okay, let's pour some into here. Not sure how much I need. Just about 10 minutes ago, I took a look at the instructions on the next page to see what I'd be getting into, and I see that we got photo etch to put on also, so we're going to be doing lots of photo etch today. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit on each of these four corners here, right in there, and there, and in here, and in there. Okay, and he's going to drop in right in there, just like that. Now, I did discover he wants to kind of sit a little bit proud. This was bent on me straight out of the box, so I think I'm going to have to add a little bit in the middle here and here. Otherwise, he's not going to sit down flat. So, let's line him up again. Okay. And we're going to use a little accelerant on there. Again, I've mentioned before, I don't like spraying this stuff on. Simply because it just sprays everywhere, and I don't like that. So I do want to make sure it's down in that corner. I think that corner is lifted up a little bit there, but our other corners are good. There we go. So yeah, he's a little bit loose. I don't have it quite glued down in that corner, but we can kind of fix that, I think. if I run some along this edge in there. I don't want to use my finger because I can very easily wind up gluing my finger down on there, and I don't want to do that. I think that's good enough. I think she's going to hold, she's going to stay on there now. Alright, so that's that. Now, this piece over here, it's got to go in right there. Okay, so I think what I want to do is I'll run some glue, I'll bead glue along those edges, and then put them on there. So put some here, and then along here. Now because he's got to conform to this curve, we're going to have to make sure we got enough glue in the middle here that he's going to stay. Alright. Don't want glue on the top. Push them in like that. I'm going to use another pair of tweezers to hold this edge. Like that. This is where it would be good to have a third hand. I just don't have a third hand. It'd be nice, but I don't have one. And I want to make sure this is down in there, flush, not sticking up proud. I got a little bit of glue on my tweezers here. Okay, I think I can do that. Didn't quite stick to this edge very good. This edge is fine, and in there's good, but our curve is not the best. Pretty close though. Okay, so that's how that one goes in. It's like that, right in there. Where are we here? Here, this guy here. Okay. That's how he goes in. Alright, so that finishes off step 27. Okay, so with step 27 done, we can flip the page, because I believe that is it. Step 26 is all done. We got number X3, we did that last time. That's all done. And this is all done now. All of our parts are in. Okay, so we flip the book. And we're going to start here at the top, step 28. We're going to need a few parts, so we can leave our little tank off to the side. And we see we've got W6, we've got that, and W11 need to go on. So I've already taken them off the sprue. They're sitting there. Okay, I took them off, I filed them down, so they're good. But we need a couple of parts. So off our E tree, actually let's start with the photo etch, because while I've got the glue out, so H, I need E14 and H33. So E14, where are you, 14? Right here. Where's my nippers? Okay, so E14. Let's clean up the nubs. E14's got quite the parting line. Okay, so they show it in this. Wow, we're going to be covering up a nub with photo etch. It's going to go right on this edge here. This guy here. And that's this little guy right here. W11. This guy here. He's going to go right on there. It's going to go just like this. Okay. Seems simple enough. Let's get some glue. Put that on here. Spread that around. Okay. Grab our piece. The nice thing about this, the VMS glue, it's fast, but it's not super instant. When I say that with a grain of salt, because it does work quickly, but it gives you that extra second or so that normal CA glue doesn't really give you. I'm doing kind of a no-no by using my fingers to hold this down, because this stuff is like mesh, and so the glue underneath is definitely going through the mesh and trying to glue my finger to it, but that's okay. It's alright, we can live with it. So there we go, we've got that glued on there now. Okay, just like so, just like they wanted. Okay, and then so we got the other piece here, that's this one, that's W6, and that's going to go onto H33. So let's find our H sprue. Grabbed these sprues out of the box, so there's a little bit quicker, I'm not hunting for them. 32, I need 33, is that one of these? The way they've done this, they've got these all lined up and the numbers are on the sides. So 33 is this guy here. It's a very unique and strange way of doing the sprues for these parts. Okay, so I don't know if I need to keep this or not. I guess I'll find out soon enough, eh? This guy, yeah, I guess I am going to need that. So W6 is supposed to go across the front of it here. They show in the diagram that they want you to fold it. There's no distinctive spots on it to tell me exactly where to fold it, but I know if I glue it here on that spot there, give it a second, and then kind of work my way around. I glue it there first and wait for that to set. Get that lined up straight. Press it down just a little bit. Right there. Get that to there we go. Okay. And now the other side of it here, I need to make sure it's dry. Otherwise, as soon as I put glue on there, the glue is going to dry instantly, and I don't want that. That's going to go in right there. And now we'll just bend this over, and then bend that down. And now that's in its spot. It's got the bend it needs to have. go around there. Just like that. Alright, so I want to add just a little more glue just to make sure. So I feel like I didn't quite get enough on there. I may be okay. You guys see what I'm talking about there? Now that that's on there, and we've got a mesh covering that hole now. But yeah, it looks like it's peeling up a little bit here. So I'm gonna re-glue that edge. Right in there. And just kind of hold that down a little bit for a second. That's better. Unfortunately, as soon as I put the accelerator on, the accelerator just runs everywhere. But there we go. She's on there now. Okay, so the photo etch parts are taken care of, at least for a couple of steps anyway. For the rest of step 28, we don't need photo etch, so I'm not in a hurry. I don't like leaving my CA glue in my little container here, so I like to soak it up with a Q-tip, and then I'll just put the Q-tip aside. And that's ready for when we need some more a little shortly. I'm gonna just quickly clean up my little CA glue applicator. What this is, if you guys are wondering, I've just taken a sewing needle, put it in my tweezers here, and what I did is I took some snips and I snipped off the end of the sewing needle, so I've got half of the hole here, so now it's kind of like a U. And what that does, I don't know if the camera will really show, you can kind of see very faintly in the camera there, when you dip that in your CA glue, that just holds it, and then you can apply it, and it's very handy. Makes life a lot easier. Okay, put these aside. Let's look at what we got here. We've got to get our E tree. We need E40. Where'd my nippers go? E40 is this guy here. This is our driver's hatch and vision enhancer assembly. Now they call for this to be painted a light brown, so I've already gone ahead and I painted the inside of that light brown. Right? Also need E43, just this guy here. And one piece I did not paint was E37, so I'm going to paint E37 after it's all assembled. You just got to find it on here. 37, this guy here. I'll paint E37 after we have it assembled. And that's going to be it for that. So let's get these guys together. Make sure my nubs are clean. Alrighty. Oh, we got a little nub up in here. Okay. We got this guy. does, I do find it surprising, like why we have, you know, with all the green on the interior, why we suddenly have a kind of a light brown khaki kind of color. Okay, this guy's gonna go, he's actually gonna go on the top here. And how's he gonna go? It's gonna go like this, over top like that. So let's grab my glue. Grab some glue. This glue. To me, extra thin. Or if you're reading online, a lot of times it's T-E-T. Tet. Gonna grab my tet. Put some glue on each one of these little pedestals. One more to go. Okay. I notice I've got a little bit of flash on the inside of that little window I gotta clean out. Oops. Let's try this again. Remember, I'm not putting in all the windows yet because we've got a bunch of painting to do, and I don't want to have to mask off so many little windows when I go to paint this thing. So that's why I'm not installing any of the glass yet. All these pieces that come off of here. Okay, but what I am doing is as I go through this, and though I'm not installing them, I am highlighting that so that I know I've got to do that later. Okay. So with this like that, that's installed now, and so I need to get rid of that little piece that doesn't want to come out of there. Get out of there. Okay. E37 is going to go right in here in this little spot. These two little divots. Okay. So I'm going to take some glue and go doink and doink. Grab E37. Kind of put him just like that. And now that he's sitting there, we're going to put more glue so that he stays. So we've got a little handle in there. Okay. There we go. So that's this part done for now. We're going to go back to our H33. I need E38 and I need T7. I didn't know I was going to be grabbing my T, so I need to find that. E38 is this little guy right here. Whoops. This little guy right here. Okay. And grab my T. Where's my T? T. Every tree except T. Is T... What is T? I don't know what T is. But it looks like maybe it's one of the clear ones. Yes, it is. T is clear. So I need to see why. What's going on? T is clear. T is going to go up inside this. It's kind of useless, really. T7. This guy here, T7, but he goes inside, which is kind of pointless, considering you can't really even see through the mesh. You can't even really see through the mesh, and yet they want you to put this clear piece inside of it, like so, like that. You can't tell it's in there. I can't tell. I can't see through the mesh. All I know is, because I put that in there, I know there's a clear piece in there, and that's it. But it's completely useless as far as function. Anyway, it's in there. E38 has to go onto the front here, like this. So I just want to see how he is shaped. He's got a funny little shape on him, and he does sit at an angle. Okay, that's how it sits. See how it's out at an angle like that? That's how they show it in the instructions. And they show it in step 29, putting it on like that too. So that's that part. Now we have our parts for E14. W11 is already installed. We need E2 and E9. I'm not going to need, I don't want to accidentally knock that over. E2 and E9. There's number 2, a little rectangular thing. Okay, and E9, 7, 11, 9. This little bar. Okay. It's just all about getting our nubs cleaned up. So happy I got a delivery from Amazon today. I got some new files that came in. Ordered some new files. These guys here, files. The file I had, you guys see me use so many times. You might say, well, the one you're using looks exactly the same. And it is exactly the same. The reason why I ordered it was I used it to do some filing on photo etch, on 3D printed parts. And I got some resin in the file and it didn't want to file anymore. So E2 goes on the end of E14 after you clean up the flash on the end of it, like that. It's going to go on the end, just like so. Okay. Glue that guy on there. And then E9 is going to go into the channel here, it looks like. Like this. And fill in that channel. Why they didn't just make this part solid, I don't know. But I guess they wanted you to assemble it yourself and make it a solid little pipe coming off of there. Oh well. That's that. So that's our step 28. Boom, 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 all done. So now we're going to put our parts on here. So they show step 18, which is this guy. They don't want us to glue it to step 20. So these two are going to go together. This is going to go on there, and this is going to go on there. And these are going to go together, but they don't want us to glue them. They don't want this being glued on. So how exactly is this going to go together here? It looks like... I don't know. Maybe like this? I don't know, is it going to snap in? It doesn't really... No, it's just going to sit. So we're not gluing this down. We're going to grab our tank here. I'm going to move my book up. I'm sorry if this goes off camera. I'll try and keep it on the camera even though it's blurry and you can't see anything. This guy goes down into his little spot here. Like so. Oh, I see. So this goes and lines up with that right there. Just like so. Okay. So now that's positioned where it's supposed to. And now this guy goes down right there. And we are going to glue this part down. We got a peg right there. That's going to go into this hole. And a little rectangular peg right there goes into that hole. And that's how we line it all up. Just like that. And so that will allow us to lift our hatch open. Like so. But you see when even just doing that, it wanted to lift up this part. See? It's moving. So, what's wrong? Well, I glue that down and I don't know, now I'm relying on glue and you go to lift this and it lifts that up. So we got to figure out why. What's the resistance on this? Is it because we've got something in here that's not allowing it to, something wrong with the mold? Is it something like that? Have I got a parting seam? Remember I mentioned I got a parting seam along here. Maybe there's a parting seam in between here that's blocking it. I'll just kind of dig that out a little bit. Maybe I'll try my new file. Is my new file thin enough to fit in between there? No, it's a little too wide and I don't want to thin that out too much. How about one of my other files that I got? It's also too wide. Crap. How about sandpaper? I can get sandpaper in between. This. That works. Clean that up. Okay. How about our hatch? You're allowed to come off. I haven't even attached you yet. There we go. Okay. I mean, I got a little bit of a nub right there. That could be a bit of an issue. So all kinds of different reasons why this might be interfering. It doesn't want to open. So I just got to make sure everything is clean when we put this in here. This was, how did this go again? Like this. Yeah, when I go to this little part here wants to dig into our hatch. So let's file that down just a little bit. this one too. That's going to thin these out and make them a little, you know, wanting to break. That's a little better. I could try and carve this out just a little bit here. Let's try that. That feels like I got a much better fit. So let's put this guy back in his spot. Put this guy in his spot. And now let's try and lift the latch. Now I'm not getting any resistance at all. Now she's going to open all the way without even interfering with this. See? Well, it is a little bit, but because it's not glued. But that is a much better fit. I also notice I still got some stuff going on here. Some flash. Got some flash in my window. Okay. So we'll put some glue down here. Here and here. Put this guy in his home. Glue along here, this edge here. All right, so that's done. We'll let that dry for a minute. Our hatch is in place. Okay, that's that. Now, step 19 was our little block here. This guy, he's gonna go in, where's he going? He's going in right here. He's got this big step there that I think I'm going to have to trim down a bit because I think it's too long. I think it's too long. Yeah, it's a little too long, so I got to trim that off. It's a tight fit. Just need to trim that down. I want to keep the tab, I just don't need it nearly that long. There we go. Did we go? No, we didn't go. Now that I've trimmed it, I need to chamfer it a little bit. What's going on here? Now suddenly it doesn't fit in the hole. All of a sudden it doesn't want to fit in the hole. So I'm just going to eliminate that tab altogether. Bye-bye, tab. And I'm just going to kind of hold it in the spot that it's supposed to go and put some glue there. Press down a little bit, not too much. There we go. That's his new home. Give him a little more glue there and around here. Okay. So that's step 19 of 28, where he goes. And then that's it. That's all we did. That's all we've done so far. So that's step 28 done. and then those those parts put on. So we've got a couple of other things. We need J5, 19, 22 is a piece of track that we need to do. But let's see, we need J. Where's my J tree? I think I got my J tree here. Yeah, I got one of my J's. We get 2 J trees. Let's see here. So, J5. Oh, that's another one of those guys. Another J5. We got 4 of these in total. I believe this is a third one now. I also need J19 times 2. There's one of the J19s. So I need 2 of them, so I only grabbed one J sprue. I need my other J sprue. Where'd the other J sprue go? There you are. And I need the other J19. Right there. Okay. So J5, he's going to go over here into these 2 holes. Now hopefully I don't manhandle this one like I did the last one in trying to push him into his holes. And I won't have to because he fits perfectly. Good, good. Okay. Just give him a little press to make sure he's pressed down good. There we go. So he's installed. So J19 times 2, those are going to go into these big holes here and here. I hope I don't drop them in. Actually, it won't matter if I drop them in or not. See, this is a good thing where, you know, if I had glued the hull, the upper hull down to the lower hull, then I'd be a little worried and upset if I accidentally drop these inside. I'm not too happy with the way that looks, so I kind of want to pull it out of there. My nub on this edge doesn't look very nice. So I'm going to trim that off. And it actually makes it so it doesn't really want to fit in the hole properly. It's a pretty tight fit. Of course, if you use glue and put the glue on first, the glue will act like a lubricant. Best viewers, yeah, thanks for this stupid stream bot. I don't want to use bots. Go away. I know I'm just a little streamer, then I have no subscribers. But it doesn't mean I want to use bots. So go away. Why don't you subscribe to me instead of offering me that? This I don't want to fit. Could you tell by the way it popped out of there that it doesn't want to fit? There we go. The trick was getting it underneath that piece of armor. That armor plating. So it has to go in between the armor plating, the plates. But there we go. Those are in. Our J19s are in. Okay, so there's how our top of our tank is starting to look. She's coming together. Okay, and now that this is glued down and it's had a minute, look at that. Our hatch opens. Our hatch opens quite nicely. Does she stay open on her own? If I open it up far enough, it does sort of stay open on its own. But I don't want to I don't want to put too much pressure on this, especially with the glue only being a few minutes dried. So that makes step 29 done. Step 29 is done. I think I got enough time. We'll do step 30. Or at least have a look at what step 30 involves. So step 30, we've got to put, remember this piece here, our hood? I've got to put J18s on there, 2 of them. J18, we've got 1 on each J. So each J has an 18. There's 1 of them. I'm going to put our tank off to the side here for a minute. Get the other 18 off of here. Okay. And these go onto the hood, but we got to clean up those nubs. I keep calling it a hood. It's really just a panel. I call it the hood because it's where you open it up and that's, you got the engine. So yeah, that's the hood, right? Most of the time. What direction does this have to go? It goes in this direction. Is it a tight fit in there? Do you stay on your own? Oh, that's a tight fit. And he does stay on his own. Just like that. Can I do this without tweezers? Maybe. Yep, there we go. Tight little fit on both of these, but it does fit. It holds on its own, but that's not good enough. You need to glue it. Otherwise, you're gonna move this thing and it'll just come right off. Okay, so there's our little hinge parts, exterior hinge things on the hood, and they want you to actually line it up so that those parts go onto our J19s that we just put on. But we've got our little things here that I need to trim off. So our little center hood latch thing that you're going to see as I angle this that I'm about to point at, that is about to get trimmed off to nothing. I'm going to try and trim it level. Bye-bye. Okay. Now I'm going to have to deal with our little shocks that are on there, because if I leave them, then this is going to stay open like that, and I don't want that. I have no problem with those being there, but if they're going to interfere with this panel being closed, then they gotta go. I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes. And that's what's happening right now. So I like that they're there, but they're interfering with this panel being going down. So we're going to do something similar. Trim that like that. Trim that like that. Okay. So the rods are still there. They're just not nearly as long. And they're still going to go into those little channels, but as I try and close this off, I want them, I need to be able to close this hood like that and have it all lined up. Okay. It's another reason why I'm purposely going to have the whole body, the upper half of the body, come off. So I'm going to hold this down for a minute. I want to make sure my hood is actually lined up. I'm actually going to pull this off so I can see underneath here and see how we're doing. As far as lining it up. I've got a bit of a bulge in the center there, and I think it's because of my center this piece here, not quite trimmed back enough. So if I just trim that back another millimeter or so, line that back up there. Still a little bit of a bulge, like it's not, it's definitely not touching now, that's for sure. I can get our hooks to go flat on there. This one not so much. So my little shafts going in there are also giving me a little bit of an issue. So let's just trim those down a little bit more. Another millimeter or so. Let's get this back in there. Well, it doesn't look like I have any choice. I'm gonna have a gap no matter what, unless I put a clamp on there. Without a clamp, there's gonna be a gap, and that's just the reality of it all. So I got a gap. Oh well, let's put some glue. Glue these onto. Glue along our bottom edge here. Give me a sec here while I take this phone call. Hello? Yes. Yeah, yeah. No, because we closed at noon. Yeah. Oh, so it's sitting there. So it's sitting there right now? I don't know, because like I said, we closed at noon. There's nobody there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If somebody grabbed it, I don't know, because like I said, I wasn't there. I left at noon. Yeah, so I can't confirm right now. So, yeah. Okay, thanks. Okay, so we got that on, glued in a couple of spots, but she's not glued down. I'm gonna have to hold it. I want to clamp this guy down here. because he wants to lift up on the corners. So we're gonna clamp him down and just gonna hold him into his spot, simply because he wants to keep lifting up. Which means we have to just leave it and wait. You know what I mean? It could be that it's against this piece here, and that's what's, it kind of feels like it should be flat beside it, but at the same time maybe not. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. So we're just going to put the clamps on it and we're going to let that dry. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to let that dry. She's in there, and that's the way she is, just like so. Okay, and that I think we're going to have to leave for today, because I need to leave this and let that dry, and there's not really much else I can do right now with it. We've got a couple other panels to go on, so what I'll do is off camera I'll do these little bits, like putting E4 onto this piece here. Okay, I'll get that put on, put those two together. I'll get J5 put onto Q9, also with C5. We'll see. Okay, a couple of little bits like that, and so that next time when we come back, we can just put these big panels on, and it won't take that long. Okay. So we also have another piece of photo etch to go on to D8. So I'll do that off camera also. I'll put the photo etch onto D8 so that we can put those two and put the panel on. Okay? And that's what we'll do next time. So that's where I'm going to leave it. That's where I'm going to leave it. And so like I said, I'll get a couple of those things put together off camera so that we can just put the bigger pieces on and take care of that, so that it, you know, because this build is dragging on, and I know some of you don't like to watch the super long builds, right? But at the same time, I want to go through step by step with you guys so that you know if you're building this thing, that you know exactly where all these pieces go and how they all go together. And that's why I go through this long process and don't just go cut. I show everything for you guys for that reason. So yeah, so you guys who'd like to just skip through my videos and you wonder why my videos are so long, yeah, that's why, because I want you to see how each part goes, so that you can go through with me and you can see, okay, how does this part go together? I got to go through his video and I got to see, how did he do this? And that's why. Okay, so anyway, enough explaining. I got to get going. I want to thank you guys for watching, and thanks for joining me on this. Thank you for all the support, and we'll see you all in the next one.